Hello everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I went on a little nature walk. I felt very called to. It was literally like in the middle of me meditating. Like I have like a routine in the morning where when I wake up I meditate and then I pray after getting ready and stuff. And during my meditation, also, like, I have my affirmations too and my manifestations as well. These are just reminders. I feel like God is starting to help me discern. Okay, I feel like I have a gift of discernment. But like any spiritual gift, it comes from within. But there have been things blocking me from within, from being able to understand this gift. And I'm just grateful that I even have this gift, that I can even use it. I feel like a lot of people have the gift of discernment. They do not know how to access it at its fullest strength because it is hard, I think, to understand God when you have lived your life away from God, when you have not been shown forgiveness, when you have not seen true love, a love that is kind, gentle, it does not coerce you, it doesn't guilt you into anything. It is just love, pure love, having a pure heart, meeting pure-hearted individuals. It is so rare, but when we are born, we are children. I think is when we understand and grasp God's presence the most, because we do not know betrayal yet. We do not know pain yet. So we see God clearly. And we are more willing to accept God as well. Also, too, when we're kids, before we start to learn people-pleasing tendencies, you know, before we start to, also, I just saw 2, 3, 4. Anyway, before we start to understand people-pleasing tendencies, before, you know, that process begins, we are just very connected with our Creator because we allow Him in. We allow it in. We allow most anything in. And when I say allow God in, what I mean is, and this is gonna sound very, very optimistic, but that's God. And I don't, there's just so much grief in this world that blinds people. We have so many among us who walk with the devil's intentions, but think they are working for God. And these individuals get so triggered when they are around people like me, people who really do work with God in all His forms. God is not just what's in the Bible, but it's also what's in the Torah. Okay, it's also what's in Buddhism, Hinduism. There's been many different forms of God out there, and all are correct. None are wrong. Because the messages are the same, okay? No matter who you're working with, if you're working with this loving higher energy being, it's going to present itself in a loving and higher energy form. And every culture is different. Every culture connects with nature in a different way. Do you get what I mean? Nature. That's why there's such a calming and healing effect of going to the woods. That's why people like to go hiking. Okay? But I genuinely believe the 3D manifestation of God is nature. So look at how humanity treats nature. You know? But it's still all loving, it's still all forgiving, so it doesn't matter, you know, what we do to nature. There's not gonna be like maybe there will be some kind of like karma that comes from meddling in the lives of other creatures. But honestly, that's not the message here. The message isn't that. I think that the message is God will always forgive you. God will always love you. It does not matter how far gone you are. It doesn't matter how disconnected you feel from this. He's still there anyway. And this is how he channels through us. When you understand that, when you come to understand that God loves you anyway, and not in a way that allows you to excuse certain behavior, but in a way that allows you to heal and to move on. Everything, nature has cycles, so do human beings. Okay? And we've learned to study these cycles without learning from them. But today on my walk, I felt guided to a sort of detached part of, on the way into it's like a little trail. I found like this sort of like hidden route. You know what I mean? Like, you ever walk on a trail and you see those like detours in? Well, there was one in particular that I felt like it was calling me. And I'm really afraid of bugs. But I realized something. I used to wonder, like, how is it that, like, plants and other animals deal with insects, or things that just, like, come out of nowhere to, like, take from it. And it's, like, the same way we deal with them. And, I mean, like, or how we feel about them, right? Because I'm, like, thinking, like, and maybe well, anyway, this is just, like, what I was thinking. I was, like, it just occurred to me. I was like, maybe the same way that we don't like pests, neither do trees and bugs and other such things, or neither do like plants and other such things, but they tolerate it. You know what I mean? And I don't think there's a purpose behind it. I think it's because these beings are more focused on growing, healing, nurturing. Like, they're more focused on living than they are on the inconveniences of life. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly get the sense that, like, nature itself is just grateful to be alive. Humanity does not have such gratitude. And I'm not gonna say, like, why that's the case. I'm just telling you that it's the case. I remember, like, a few days ago, I was literally walking to my car in my parking garage in my apartment complex, and then I hear someone say, "I hate my life." No, I don't know who this person was or why they said it. But I have a feeling that their life is probably not as difficult as it could be. You know what I mean? Like, I know there are places in the world where you can't even say such expressions, right? Like, I remember hearing on the news, there was a woman who recently went to Dubai. I don't remember who she is or her name. I just remember hearing that she's from Houston, Texas. She went to Dubai. She was acting like she was just yelling basically because something happened to her, and as a result of that, her she got arrested. I don't even know, like, exactly what occurred to her. I'm just saying that this woman was arrested because she was yelling. It was something to do with her passport. I don't know. It was about, like, honestly, like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like she had, like, didn't have reasons. Like, she did. She had her reasons for why she was upset. But the way she like managed it, the way that she expressed it, the way that she was behaving in that moment, like she wasn't even allowed to express her frustrations and her anger to its fullest degree before she was arrested. Do you get what I mean? Or like, I just hope that makes sense, because what I'm trying to say is like, it could always be worse. Like if that person had did the same thing, yelled "I hate my life" in another country, they would have been arrested for yelling. So that was just something that popped in my head. And I'm not saying that we have to be grateful for life, because it could always be worse. I'm just saying, when you forget how good you have it, then when things actually get worse, that's when you realize it. So you might as well enjoy where things are currently for you, and try not to compare yourself to other people, because we do not know other people's destinies or their karma or what things are coming. Like, someone's life may be great, but you don't know what they're doing to get that great life. You don't know what shady deals they make behind closed doors. You don't know if it's a blessing that they've earned. They went through trial after trial, suffered day in and day out, and now God is rewarding them. You also don't know if it's short-lived. Maybe God gave them everything they've ever wanted just to take it away, because that's what this person does to other people. You really do not know. So don't assume. Don't assume that they have a great life when all they've ever shown you was the best parts of it. And if you do the same, that's one thing, but honestly, like, you don't know. I feel like I have a lot of messages from this walk, and I think that's the reason why I was called to go on this walk. I felt like, more than anything, I just felt this desire, like I needed to go. And it wasn't like it's hard to explain, but I am learning how to listen to my intuition. Your intuition is such a gentle voice, very gentle. It's gonna nudge you, if even that. I feel like sometimes it's almost easy to miss. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like it's gets hard to tell with all the other emotions you experience, but your intuition is such a gentle beast. That's like how I think of it. And I just, while I was meditating, I felt a message pop in my head of going into nature. I like, sometimes I'll like channel before I meditate. Sometimes I will have like these cards, this like oracle deck that's meant to be used in, I was gonna say, in tandem with meditating. And there's this card that popped in my head, the nature card, which calls us to go into nature. And yeah, I just felt the need. I felt the desire. And then I was trying to tell myself, oh, I'll do it after I finish doing these things, after I finish my daily routine. Sorry, there's just like people going around and stuff, but they're cool. So yeah, I just felt like I needed it. You know what, more than anything, I need to go have this moment. If I'm looking for peace, if I'm looking for enlightenment, I will get it through this moment, and I can always come back, meditate, and pray. I do not need to do things in a fixed order. I'm not a fixed person. I don't have any placements in fixed signs except for Leo, and that's my moon. But I don't think I have any placement. I do not believe I have any placements in earth signs. Oh, except for my rising. But that's more like, that's not like a planet, you know, in a sign. I don't even know, like, if is it an asteroid that they're measuring? Is that, sorry, you should not be seeing, like, the people. I'm gonna come back after they're done. Okay, yeah. Anyway, sorry about that, guys. The little break. They just started talking, and I was like, oh, I'm not trying to, you know, blast their conversations on the freaking internet. They didn't ask for that. I thought, anyway. So, right. Right. It's just like I don't have any of these like fixed placements. Not that Earth sign energy is inherently like a fixed energy. It just is a slower moving energy, and can take like a bit of time. I literally just straightened my hair today, and it's like back to being not as straight, but that's fine because I'm gonna wash it soon anyway. And my hair, I think, wants to go back to being curly. But like, Earth sign energy. You know, I don't really remember why I started talking about that, but anyways, I was just saying that on my little nature walk, I just sort of realized that, like, a few things, but I feel like the main thing, or a repeat message really, to like something like these past couple of days, I have been learning to identify our spiritual attacks, but also how to listen to God, how to walk closer with God, how to emanate this divine being's energy to receive it better. And that's the thing. If you want to work with darker energies, you become darker. If you want to work with lighter energies, you become a lighter. You know, like, your energy has to feel light. You know, you have to, and I mean it like if you're interested, you know, if you're interested in being enlightened, if you're interested in peace, living in peace, no matter where you are or what you're doing, if you are interested in this, the way to do it is by emulating it. But spiritual attacks come in all different forms. There are some people who truly work with dark energy and perform like things like witchcraft, you know. But I don't really have a concept of that. Like, I haven't experienced that to the sense, in the sense of like knowing how to deal with it. So I don't have advice for people who have dealt with something like that. But you know what? I know that most of the spiritual attacks I have experienced are in the realm of the psyche. They come in forms of doubt and fear, especially if you grew up in an environment where fear was instilled in you by parents, not by the outside world, by parents. Okay, people who you spent a lot of your time with, and they would sit there and tell you why you need to be afraid of everything and everyone. That is a spiritual attack. That's not a loving and higher vibrational energy that God resides in. That is a lower vibrational energy to keep you in these loops, so you can't trust strangers. So when God brings you a blessing or an opportunity, you can't even use your intuition to discern, because it's being clouded by this fear, and your intuition is not going to speak louder than the fear. You ever argue with someone who has true peace? This is how the argument would work. So let's say you're arguing about something, you're trying to argue about something, let's say it's about climate change. You have the stance that it's not real, and this enlightened person is like, you know, well, evidence proves otherwise. And so this person with peace in their heart is going to tell you that, And if you start yelling, screaming at them, or, you know, you're trying to argue with them, and what they told you was a sentence, not a question, it's hard to really come back like hard evidence. Your only real argument is, well, okay, well, were they trustworthy sources? If the sources were trustworthy, then it would be trying to disprove rain, the existence of rain with it on a rainy day. It just could not make logical sense. And if you're trying to win the argument logically, then you've lost. You have nothing to say. It's real. But if you try to disturb this person's peace, because that's kind of how you would win an ego argument, you would say something underhanded about their appearance or about them, something unrelated to the subject, or may even make a comment like, oh, only idiots who believe in this, or whatever. And this person would probably just smile at you. Not in a smug way, but in a, okay, I see this is where you're at emotionally. You're on your journey, same as me. And I understand that your peace has been disturbed by something, by potentially just my presence. You got, like, you're fighting right now. You're fighting with the darker energies that reside within you. You are under spiritual attack. A spiritual attack, like, really does come in all different shapes and sizes. It is not just spiritual attack literally comes in the form of you doubting yourself. Okay, I said this already, but I mean, like, in all kinds of ways. You would be surprised how spiritual attack works. Okay, and this is something I've been, like, familiarizing myself with. So what I mean is, like, it could really truly, like, you ever knew something to be true but somehow you doubted it being true? And think about it. Who would benefit from you doubting that being true? Is it the light or the dark? Like, I've always known treating people with respect is true, like, is the good thing to do. But then there are times where I sit there and I'm like, well, this person doesn't deserve it. You know? Things like that. But maybe this person's never actually hurt you before, but you're still wanting to treat them like garbage. You know, like, if you had the opportunity, you would go and make this person's life a hell, despite the fact that they've actually never done anything to hurt you. And that's not good for you. You really shouldn't be holding that kind of resentment within you, even if you think it's justified. The universe does not work in terms of good and bad. It works in terms of energy. So when your energy is a pile of poo, even if you are convincing yourself that it's justified, it's justified to hate someone when the person in question that you're hating is, let's say, me personally, I'm gonna call myself out. I used to, like, have an intense amount of hatred for R. Kelly, the musician, because he's a pedophile and other stuff too. Until I realized that does not serve me. Having such hatred for someone I will never meet does not serve me. I don't work in the justice system, so I won't even have the opportunity to use those emotions to make things fair. But that's okay. It's not part of my journey. It's not part of my destiny. I'm not meant to restore justice and the victims who have been hurt by this person, okay? In fact, if anything, I'm just gonna shine my light. I know it's hard, but I'm going to exist in the energy of love, despite the fact that people like that exist. Despite the fact that R. Kelly has victims, or had victims, I'm still gonna operate in a peace and loving energy. Because psychic attack comes in the form of that. Because it brings you at a lower vibrational state. So it doesn't matter what the reasons are, as long as it brings you at that state. And this is the thing that's hard for me to understand. But this is where we need to understand too, like where the power lies is not in these 3D things, okay? It's not in material wealth. It is not in social status. It lies within you, and has always been within you. The thing that gives you true power is peace. It's your heart. It's this solid, unshakable foundation. You know who you are, and you know who God is, and you know how God loves you, and you know that is reciprocal. Like, you understand this to be true. That is how, like, when you lose sight of that, I consider those moments spiritual attack. And some can feel justified. And some can feel not justified. Right? Like a grudge. Like pettiness. Jealousy. Jealousy you have towards your sister or your brother, or, you know, people in your lives who appear to be doing better than you. Anyway, I just saw 1133. I hope that made sense. I hope that made sense. And I hope you understand where I'm coming from. I think part of my purpose at this time is to bring enlightenment to humanity on a global scale. I want to show everybody. No, I feel like I'm meant to show everybody how to exist in a wavelength of peace and love. There's just people. Oh, they have a doggy. They got a doggy. Oh, he's so cute. What the fuck is that? Oh, I don't know. It's like some kind of baby insect. Just like popped on my windshield. Like, I hope you know I'm about to leave soon. Anyways, so, right, guys. I'm not quite done with the channeling yet, though. Okay, like, I'm not quite done talking. And I realized, too, the way that God works is he truly, genuinely just flows through you when you connect with him. And you connect with him by understanding what his frequency is. His frequency is love, you know, or her. Literally, God doesn't have pronouns. Okay, that's the frequency. That's the energy. That's the love. Okay, when you're in that zone, when you're in that operation, when you are operating at that level, then you are connected with God. And there will be things and energies that will do their best to dismantle that. Right? Like you're on a pedestal, if you will. A pedestal you built on your own to be standing next to God and to shine with him. And there will be beings that will try to push you off of it. You just have to learn how to keep your balance, and you'll get to the point where nothing can shake you. And that is enlightenment, and it's permanent from my understanding, right? Or, you know, maybe you'll fluctuate occasionally, but you reach it in your head. Sorry, my alarm just went off. Probably gonna have to go soon. I feel like I've been doing this for a bit long, bit too long. Oh my gosh. What the heck? The battery just, it does that sometimes. What did I tell you guys? What did I just say? What did I say? I said that when you are on this pedestal, there will be many things that will try to knock you down off of it. What did I literally just say? The video was interrupted with the alarm, although I did set it up, so I don't know, maybe that was just like coincidence. And then the car, I just turned it on and it didn't turn on. That only happens when I parked it incorrectly, and I parked it correctly. So what did I say, you guys? Anyways, be careful out there. The devil is strong, but the devil is not, thankfully, the devil does not show up, like, you know, at your door. Like, you've ever seen those movies, you know, like Paranormal Activities, all that type of shit. Be advised, what you consume, you may have the ability to manifest in your real life, okay? And be careful about what messages you are consuming, because your energy is so delicate, so gentle, anything can affect it, okay? And I really want to give a warning here, especially with like things like horror movies. I used to be a huge fan of horror movies, so I'm speaking from straight up experience. Those images haunt you at a later date. When you are numb to it, you think it's fine, you think it's okay, nothing will faze you. That's because the devil has got you right where he wanted you. You were in a state where terrible things do not disturb you, and good things don't affect you either. You're in that state of nothingness. That's a cute doggy. Oh, like the way he wags it. So cute. Anyway, there's people with dogs. I really like dogs, you know. But right, this guy 100% is like looking at me, and I'm like talking to that camera anyway. Oh well. My hair looks so greasy, but it's not. It's like oil. I put oil in it because I have like naturally curly hair, and it benefits from putting oil. It also keeps the straight hair longer, but holy shit. Whatever. So like I was saying, you guys, keep in mind the devil will show up in many different ways, not just in the ways we see on television, okay? Especially if we see it on television. The cameras cannot record things that exist in the 5D. It's never been that way. And anything that we cannot see but we feel, energy, exists in the 5D, right? So the way I think about it is like the devil is gonna show up this like in that frequency, in that place, in the 5D. It's energy, and it's going to affect you in different ways, but honestly, it's a test to see if you are not affected by it when you choose not to be affected by it, because it can happen at any time, at any moment, to bring you down so you can do its work. The same way when you're elevated, you can do God's work. Same when you are at that lower frequency, you can do the devil's work. Do you get what I mean? Only people who are sad and miserable with their lives, only people who can't learn from their mistakes, they're the ones who go out and ruin other people's lives, and that's the devil's work. I don't know why, but it benefits some beings. There are people out here who benefit from you at this frequency. Think about it. Why is it that only like what? I'm trying to remember wealth distribution in America. Okay, I'm trying to recall, but if you guys know anything about wealth distribution, the amount of wealth that exists in this world, there's like what, 1% has like more than like, I think it's like 70% of money. Do you understand? Maybe like 1,000 or something people, maybe like, I'll be generous, maybe like 10,000 people out of the billions on this planet. Do you know how much a billion is? That's a lot. But like a few billion, or not a few billion, a few thousand have the wealth of billions, and billions have the wealth of a few thousand. How does that make sense? How does that work? That's the devil's work. That's quite literally how the devil thrives. These lower vibrational energies, they benefit off of you in pain and suffering. So they'll do what they can to keep you in that vibrational state, but the moment you break through, the moment you see their traps, the moment you overcome your ego, the moment you choose unconditional love, of course God is going to be there with you to combat these beings. But know that they may not show up in the way that you think. They're probably not going to show up at your door, you know, all scary looking, trying to kill you. They're going to like convince you that they'll do that to keep you at that frequency of fear. But in actuality, that kind of stuff really only happens in movies. You know? So be careful what you consume, because those thoughts will haunt you. Don't be haunted. Don't allow ghosts to haunt you, okay? Sometimes these energies can only affect you when you allow them to. That's why when you allow God in, God stays and is there and protects. And maybe you'll never get how he works, but you don't need to, as long as you are protected. Anyways, guys, this concludes today's message. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. My name is Negustita again. Check out the description below. And if you are, I do tarot card readings, and I'm recently decided to start booking in case people want like specific information about what they are dealing with. I start at 10 minutes, and every 10 minutes is $7. These are the rates for like at this time right now. Yes, as I continue on, I'm probably gonna change the rates as I get more like, you know, experience and stuff. I just thought to let people know in case like a few months from now I upgrade or upcharge, because I realize my value has gone up in terms of what type of advice I can give you. And also, like, you know what I mean, just as things change, I change as well. And I don't want people to be like, well, it used to be $7. I'm like, yeah, because at that time you got $7 worth of reading. Anyway, so if you are interested, in the description box below, there should be an email address. It's Negustitatarotreadings@gmail.com. Message me there, and that's how we're gonna do things. Or you can message me on Instagram. My Instagram link, I have a few Instagrams, but any of them with Negustita in the are my preferable. Like, this is like, if you want to book a reading, book through there. And yes, we just will communicate. We'll do everything on Google Hangout. Also, I accept Cash App, Venmo, and if you must, Zelle as well. Okay, guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a blessed day.